All right, everyone. Today we are doing the highly requested Clash roommate tier list. So this is a tier list where I rank all of the cards by who I would be willing to be roommates with. So our first tier is pays bills and you never see him. Literally the perfect roommate. Then we have solid but weird. Okay, these are the cards that are like pretty good roommates, but kind of strange. Then we have leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days. I think we all know what that one's about. Then we have 3 a.m. noise complaint, cops called. So these are the cards that are just way too loud and obnoxious to ever live with. Then we have steals your food and gaslights you. This is the toxic roommate that will utterly destroy your life. And then finally, we have the I'm breaking the lease immediately tier, which is pretty obvious what's going to happen there. Now, I've had roommates a couple of times in my life, and both times have been horrible. So maybe that's a story for another day, but I have a pretty high bar, all right? There's a little dust in the air. So first we have skeletons, okay? I think skeletons firmly go in the solid but weird category. They would definitely be clanking around. You'd hear their bones moving all the time, which would be a little bit annoying. And they don't speak as far as I know, so that would be kind of strange, and they carry swords all the time. But overall, I get a good vibe from the skeletons, right? I think they're good dudes, and they would just kind of hang out and pay their bills, and maybe they'd all, crash the living room every once in a while watching a football game or something. But overall, solid guys. Then we have the bomber. Now, this one is definitely going to be a 3 a.m. noise complaint. Now, it's very simple, right? This dude is literally making pipe bombs in the living room, and occasionally one is going to go off and destroy the place, and the cops are going to get called, and it'll just be a whole mess. And frankly, I don't want to deal with it. Okay, next, goblins. Regular goblins are definitely leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days type of guys. Goblins, listen, maybe my goblin racism is coming out again, but frankly, I don't think they're very clean guys. I just get the vibe that they'd be kind of dirty and rambunctious. I feel like they would make a big mess and leave it around for me to have to clean up, or I'd have to be leaving a passive aggressive note on the fridge like, hey guys, can we please just wash our glasses out before we put them in the sink? Is that too much to ask? Okay, next we have spear gobs. I mean, it's the same exact story. Not going to get into it. Same story. Zap. Now, Zap is probably solid, but a little weird. Well, yeah, solid, but a little weird. I feel like Zap, if it were personified into a human being, would generally pay the bills every once in a while. Things would get crazy and your power would cut out for a few seconds. But overall, I don't think it'd be too bad to live with them, okay? Next up, we have the Knight. The Knight is probably a pays bills and you never see him kind of guy. Let's be real. Dude's going to be clean. He's going to be on top of it stuff. I mean, he's a military man, right? He's got to be orderly. He probably wakes up at 6 a.m. every day and makes his bed, grabs his coffee, he's out the door. You never even see him. You forget he exists until the rent check hits, Solid guy. Archers, I'm going to say, are probably in the same category. I just get a wholesome vibe for the archers. It would be a little weird, okay? Maybe having 2 people in the house instead of just one, kind of like the skeletons. But overall, I think they're probably fine to live with. I get a good vibe from the archers as well. Minions. Minions are probably going to be steals your food and gaslight you. However, wait, I've heard that minions are the servants of humanity. So maybe pays bills and you never... No, solid but weird. Okay, it'd be weird to have 3 flying creatures inside your house that like do whatever you ask. It'd be cool, don't get me wrong, but people are going to come over and be like, what's up with those guys? They're kind of strange. And so that's fine. Let's adjust the camera here a little bit. There we go. Okay, arrows. I'm breaking the lease immediately. I can't live in a place where I'm constantly under threat of being attacked, okay? It's just ridiculous, The arrows will come down, puncture holes in the roof. The landlord's going to be on my ass. We can't do that. Same thing with the cannon, really. I mean, well, I've been told that the buildings are sentient, okay? And if this is like a cannon who can control its ability to shoot stuff, then maybe just a 3 a.m. noise complaint. So like the cannon that's sitting in the living room, y'all are chilling, watching football, and then it gets excited and blows its load. And now, there's a hole in the neighbor's wall and the cops are getting called. It's a very similar situation to the bomber, I feel. Next up, we have Tesla Tower. Tesla Tower is actually goated as a roommate, okay? It hides in the floor. You literally never see it unless you get close to it. And it probably just pays its bills on time. I think it's fine, the fact that it sort of like stores itself is beautiful. What more could you ask for from a roommate? Mortar, on the other hand, is definitely I'm breaking the lease immediately. What separates the mortar from the cannon is that the mortar has the potential to like level a city or like another building. I mean, like if it gets excited during a game or something, it's gonna shoot out through the ceiling, blow a hole in the ceiling, which is much worse to deal with than a hole in the wall. And then that big rock is gonna land somewhere else, and then I'm gonna have to deal with that. Okay, that's a big liability. Now there's potential the cannon would blow a hole through the wall and kill someone, but I just think it's way higher with the mortar. Next up, we have barbarians. Barbarians are definitely noise complaint, bro. I would almost put them in leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days tier, but the barbarians are so rambunctious and they yell all the time, okay? It just, imagine living with like 5 frat guys and you're like an office dude who has to go to work. Fuck, I make videos for a living, okay? I can't have 5 dudes yelling behind me every day. It just will not work. 3 a.m. noise complaint for sure. Minion Horde. Minion Horde is solid but weird, but because there's so many of them, I think we have to move them a tier lower. I mean, it's just so many. It's 6 little creatures living in your house, and I just don't think I can handle that. I mean, they have to poop somewhere, right? Do I have to get minion litter boxes? That minion kibble? We're just getting, it's too much, okay? It's too much. It's too much to deal with. Tombstone. Tombstone, I think, is actually solid but weird also, because think about it. You have a little thing in your house, and let's assume that it doesn't just spawn infinite skeletons, right? That they just kind of have their own place to live. It's like, it's almost like having a cat tree, I would imagine, in your house. The skeletons, they come out during the day, they hang out, and then they go back in their cat tree and just chill for the night. That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, next up we have Musketeer. Musketeer is probably pays bills and you never see them. Let's change this to them, okay? We're inclusive here, right? Now, the Musketeer, the only thing I'm a little wary of is they have a gun. Now, they could use that to murder me. However, I get the vibe more that they would probably protect the home. So this may even be the top so far of pays bills and you never see them. Plus, I won't go into details. All right. Next up, we have the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is a little more rambunctious than the Musketeer, for sure. She's going to be swinging the axe around occasionally and damage some shit. She's also a barbarian, or at least barbarian adjacent. I don't get the vibe she's doing her dishes every day, okay? I get the vibe that there's going to be trash everywhere. She's going to leave her axe stuck in the coffee table sometimes. It's going to be weird. Hog Rider, I mean, bro, this dude cannot shut the fuck up to save his life, and he's got a fucking pig in the house. What are we going to do about that? It's gonna be disgusting. It's going to be a pigsty. He's going to be yelling all the time. It's going to be ridiculous. I can't do it. Can't do it. Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A, on the other hand, I think is solid but weird. I get everybody loves the Mini P.E.K.K.A, right? He's just got wholesome vibes. He seems like a good dude or nature spirit or whatever he may be, but he does think I'm pancakes and may try and kill me. I don't know. Overall, though, he's quiet, right? Except when he goes, wank. So otherwise, I think he'd be a pretty chill guy to hang out with. Fireball, I mean, fuck, bro. The house is getting blown to smithereens and I'm probably inside it. I can't be doing that. That's no go, no go. The Bomb Tower. Now, the Bomb Tower is where things get a little weird, okay? The Bomb Tower is where things get a little weird. I think the Bomb Tower would probably blow up the house, so I feel like it has to be breaking the lease. Plus, where are we going to put it? It's so big. Where are we going to put the Bomb Tower in a house? It just won't work. Now, the Spear Gob Hut, the Gob Hut, I always call it the Spear Gob Hut. It's because there's a big spear on the diagram, on the image, okay? Don't come after me. Also, if you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching. Also, if you have ideas, okay, you have ideas for other tier lists, please leave them in the comments below. I check the comments for what I should do next. So if you have an idea, it doesn't have to be Clash. Just please leave a comment about what tier list you'd like to see next. So for the Goblin Hut, you may think, why isn't this just leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days? This feels almost like I would be at war with another tribe, right? Like I have my room and my space, but then there's also a hut full of goblins in the house. And those guys are just going to come out and they're going to like take my shit and I'm going to be like, where the fuck did my popcorn go? You know, I had 3 bags of popcorn. Why'd you eat it? And they're going to be like, we don't know what you're talking about. And then whenever things get heated, they're going to be like, bro, we got spears. There's like 8 of us. What are you going to do about it? And I'm going to be like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'll go back to my room. It's not a big deal. So I feel like I'm constantly going to get robbed and then told that I basically have to put up with it. A giant. Oh, the giant is probably solid but weird. You could maybe go down to 3 a.m. noise complaint because his big heavy footsteps are going to be stomping around. Let's pray to God we all live in a duplex, okay, and not an apartment on the 3rd floor, because then we're going to have some real problems. overall, he's a very big guy, so I would hope he can get in and out of the doors without wrecking the place. And assuming that that's the case, that he has some care, I get the vibe he's kind of gentle. I think it would just be kind of weird with living with like a, I don't know, 10 feet tall dude who's like 400 pounds, but probably fine. Okay. The Wizard. The Wizard is a little rambunctious. Okay. The Wizard has some rambunctious vibes to him. I think this has to be 3M noise complaint. I'm not a big fan of the Wizard. I know lots of people are. Okay. But I feel like he'd be throwing parties. I just get the vibe he's a partier. He's probably like busting out his cool fire magic for people to show off. So I feel like there would be some commotion associated with living with him, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm a quiet, reserved fella. Okay, I don't want to hang out with some guy who's constantly yelling and throwing fireballs over the place. Plus, there's a risk the house can be burned down. It's just a lot to deal with. The Inferno Tower. Where are we going to put an Inferno Tower? The Inferno Tower is probably very kind. I don't get the vibe it would like target me or anything. It would just make the house really hot. And I can't be hot, right? It makes me incredibly uncomfortable. Maybe I'll talk about this sometime. I have some medical thing. Okay. It makes it very painful for me to be hot. I'll go into that in detail sometime in a log, but overall, not living with the Inferno Tower. Personal reasons. Okay. The rocket. I mean, fuck, bro. We're getting bombed. Okay. I can't be doing rocket science in my home. Okay. Let's say I'm not doing rocket science. Let's say the rocket impacts the house. It gets blown up. Let's say it has self-control. It's just, I'm going to be on edge 24/7, knowing that I have a weapon of mass destruction in my house. Okay. The FBI is going to be looking for us. It's just not a good idea. Okay. Elixir pump. The elixir pump is goated. Okay. Hear me out. I don't know exactly how elixir works, okay? I think I could drink it and maybe it'd give me superpowers. Maybe it's just like soda. Either way, I have a pump full of it in my home that it dispenses elixir to me. I mean, that sounds fucking awesome. And I mean, fuck, I'd pay for it to be there, okay? It's gonna give me infinite elixir. What more could you ask for? Barbarian hut. I mean, this is almost, I'm breaking the lease immediately. However, there's one key benefit that people don't think about here, okay? And that's the fact that you're sharing the house with like 15 other guys. It will be disgusting, but rent will be like $10 or something, you know? Rent will be $100, and that's hard to beat. They will be rambunctious, they will be loud, we will absolutely lose our security deposit. But I feel like they get along with me. I don't feel like it would be an antagonistic relationship like it would be with the goblins. I feel like overall we'd be having a good time throwing crazy parties and stuff. And even though that's not my thing, to pay $100 in rent a month, I think I can get by. Maybe I can turn the barbarian hunt antics into content, as opposed to 5 barbarians just seems like kind of a nuisance. Mirror. I mean, I generally like myself. I think living with myself would be fine. So we're going to put this, I pay my bills, okay? And frankly, if I was living with someone else, you wouldn't really see me. I stay in my room a lot. Let's be real. I'm in here recording the videos, and then when I'm not, I'm playing games on my computer. I'm pretty easy to live with, I think. Next up, we have Rage. I don't really know how this would work, but I think this is definitely 3 a.m. noise complaint, at least, okay? And if not, we can maybe bump it up to leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days. But either way, we're going to get crazy. I'm going to be angry. We're going to be smashing shit. There's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of stuff not taken care of that should be taken care of. I think that's a very fair placement for that, okay? Scarmy. It's just too many guys. It's just too many creatures. Now, the skeletons are fairly quiet, I will say. They mostly just make bone rattling noises, which would probably get on my nerves, but as long as they go to bed at a reasonable time, I would probably be able to sleep. I'm a pretty light sleeper, so lots of noise would get to me. But I also think they're probably pretty honest. I think this is like a solid but weird. I don't know. It's just so many dudes. It's so many little dudes in a house that it would be kind of awful, but at the same time, I feel like they would be very respectful and quiet for the most part, and just kind of hang out in there and clean up after themselves. They pay their bills. It would just be weird to live with so many little guys. I don't even know if they shower, you know, like how much of an impact would they really make? As long as I stay in my room, it's probably not a big deal. Okay, next up we have Goblin Barrel. We just can't have a barrel smashing through the roof of the home, okay? It's gotta be break my lease immediately. I just can't have 3 little goblins smashing into the house 24/7. It's not a good look, okay? We'll get evicted immediately. Baby dragon. Oh, baby dragon is a tough one, okay? Living with a dragon would be fucking rad at first. It's like when you get I don't know, like a new pet or something, and it's like when you buy a puppy, right? And then that puppy becomes like giant. It becomes massive, and you're like, oh shit, this was actually a Great Dane puppy, and pumpy. This was a Great Dane puppy, and actually, this is kind of bad. I don't have the space for a Great Dane. I thought you would stay small forever. I feel like that's what living with a baby dragon would be. However, it's a fucking dragon, bro. Can you imagine being friends with a dragon? I think this is leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days. I don't know how capable the baby dragon is of cleaning up after itself and stuff, but it would be rad as hell to have a dragon friend. Next up, freeze. I love the cold, bro. This is peak, okay? I couldn't ask for, bro, I like to keep it at 60 degrees in the house, okay? I can't because, you know, electricity costs money. So, and I have a girlfriend who gets cold all the time. So we keep it at a crisp 68, which is working for me, okay? That's a nice happy medium for everyone involved. But bro, if it could be fucking like 40 in here, I'd do it. I love the cold. So that's peak, which is easily solid but weird. I mean, she's gonna be casting spells and stuff, raising the dead, having four little guys over all the time. But hey, you know, as I feel like she'd pay her bills. I feel like it'd be a little strange to walk out and she's like got her 4 skeletons or whatever. But again, I think the skeletons are generally very respectful, so I think it'd be fine. Okay, next up we have the prince. The prince is an arrogant asshole, and I frankly I don't want anything to do with him. I feel like he'd absolutely come in and he'd think that he runs the place, and then he'd not do shit. He'd be, you know, dirtying all the dishes, never washing them, and then leaving the house because he's got important stuff to do. That's just the vibe I get from him. I don't like him. I don't fuck with it. Get out of here. A balloon. How does this work? Are we storing the balloon inside? Does just the little skeleton inside the balloon come inside at night? We store the balloon outside, maybe in the carport or something. I don't know. I feel like this is 3 a.m. noise complaint territory. Not because we would necessarily get a noise complaint, but I feel like it would just draw a lot of attention, and there would certainly be things that happen that would cause the neighbors to call the cops on us occasionally whenever there's a hot air balloon being raised and deflated outside the house all the time. It's just weird. It draws too much attention. I think the cops would for sure be called. Next up, we have Giant Skelly. This is very similar to the giant. However, he has a giant bomb. Okay, and having explosives in the home is just dangerous, okay? It's gonna lead to a noise complaint or a hole in the floor or a dead neighbor. It's a lot to deal with, okay? Lightning is bad. If your house gets struck by lightning, it's a big deal. So that's gonna be breaking the lease immediately. Listen, most of the spells are just probably gonna be pretty bad. I don't even know what I would use lightning for. Let's say it comes in a little bottle like it is in the picture. When am I ever gonna want to pop the cork on that thing? Absolutely never. And if I accidentally drop it, holy fuck, am I screwed? So no thanks. Expo inside the house, kind of a lot. Okay, I think my cats would probably have a pretty good time playing on the expo by comparison to a lot of the other buildings, you know, so maybe that's something. I think you know, if I had to really guess and put it somewhere, I don't know. I think solid but weird. I don't think it'd be that weird. The expo would probably just chill in the corner. As long as it doesn't shoot ever, we're probably fine. Okay, probably pretty chill. Pekka, Mama Pekka. Mama Pekka's very responsible. Okay, but I think I think she has to go in solid but weird territory. She's almost pays bills and you never see them, but I feel like the constant clanking of the armor and the great stature which she has would definitely be annoying from time to time. Okay, like I said, I'm a light sleeper. She can't be clinking around at 2 a.m. to go get some water from the fridge and all I hear is all that stuff, you know. It's just too much. Gollum is definitely noise complaint. Gollum is too loud, okay, too big. I don't even think Gollum would be able to get through the doors. There'd have to be some weird maneuvering to even get Gollum inside, and then he'd be chilling in the living room constantly because he can't go anywhere. We'd probably have to get him like a little litter box or something. It would be weird. It's too much. It's too much. Royal Giant, I think I'm going to put in solid but weird also. I feel like Royal Giant is basically the giant, but he's got a cannon so he can protect the home. I don't think it'd be any different, really. I'm thinking about it too hard. Three Musketeers. Okay, you already know what I'm thinking, but we got to put it in solid and weird. The reason is I think it'd be weird to be the only guy in a house of 3 women who are all like twins or grew up together or something. I feel like I'd be left out all the time. It'd be strange. Maybe we all get along really well and things are fine, but then if you ever date one, then it's like things get really weird and then it's just a mess. Okay, there's a lot of potential for drama in this situation, so I think it'd be solid but weird, and eventually things might hit the fan. But you know, it is what it is. Dark Prince. Dark Prince is probably solid. Well, they have a horse. That's another thing I didn't really think about with the Prince is they have a horse. So I think this is probably. I'm still gonna put him pays bills, but you never see him. I still feel like the Prince would be rather recluse. The Dark Prince rather be rather recluse. I think he'd be fine. I don't think I'd see him that much. I think he'd take care of his horse, and I wouldn't even really notice it. The armor would be kind of weird, okay? My friends would come over, and they'd be like, why is there a guy in armor with a horse in your house? And I'd be like, that's my roommate, bro. That's Dark Prince. Dap him up. He's cool. I swear. Okay. Poison, I mean, we're turning the home into a biohazard. I will kill myself, likely the neighbors, likely anyone within a like 25-kilometer radius. So no go. Princess. Is Princess a child? I don't know. If she is, very strange. If she's not, a little less strange. She's probably, I'm going to assume they're adults. I'm going to assume they're an adult, okay? Probably solid. You never see them. They probably practice their archery in the backyard. Maybe they might catch some stuff on fire, but that's not weird enough of a hobby where I think you go down a tier. Overall, probably pretty fine. I think fine to live with. Ice Wiz. Bro, Ice Wiz and me are gonna be dogs, okay? We're gonna be bros, I guarantee it. I don't know how old he is. I get he might be a little older, so that might be a little weird. But overall, I think he's just a solid dude, and he can keep the house cold, so I am fucking with him heavy. Next up, Fire Spirit. We can go ahead, again, we can do all the spirits here. I like to get them out of the way all at once because, frankly, they're all just destructive little assholes, okay? They go in, they kill themselves, and guess what? I thought I bought a roommate, okay? I thought I had a roommate, okay? I thought I signed a lease with a roommate. The moment we walk in the house, the spirits will get so excited that they'll go, ee! And then jump into the living room coffee table and then electrocute, freeze, set it on fire, or heal it, and kill themselves. And then I'm stuck. I'm on the hook for the full rent amount and all the bills and stuff, okay? Not okay. Not fucking with that at all. Next up, we have the Furnace. The Furnace is definitely going to be 3 a.m. noise complaints. Okay, it's almost breaking the lease. As long as the Furnace... Well, actually, I can't live with the Furnace, bro. He's going to make the house too hot. I know that's like a personal hang-up. I think for most people, 3 a.m. noise complaint because you constantly have to deal with the fire spirits killing themselves and setting things on fire, potentially. But I just can't deal with the heat. It would make my life miserable. Guards are some solid dudes, okay? On top of being little skeleton guys, they also have the potential to protect the home, which I do appreciate. Next up, we have the Miner. The Miner is going to be 3 a.m. noise complaint, I think. I think that makes sense, okay? I don't trust the Miner. Excuse me, I need some water. I don't trust the Miner to not be digging holes in the backyard at 3 a.m. That just sounds like something very in character for him. So I'm going to say that he firmly goes in the 3 a.m. noise complaint category. Sparky. I love the Sparky, but bro, Sparky is definitely stealing your food and gaslighting you, okay? Why do I say that? The Sparky is, I get the vibe that the Sparky is shy, right? So the Sparky will be sitting in the corner and accidentally zap the flower pot, and there will be a big pile of ash and a big burn mark on the floor, and then you'll be like, Sparky, what happened? And Sparky will just be like, what do you mean? I didn't see anything. Nothing. I didn't do anything. And it's like, come on, bro. You think I disintegrated the flower pot in the corner? You think I did that? You think someone else came in here and did that? What do you mean you didn't do it? I feel like that's what a lot of our conversations would be like. So I think steals your food and gaslights you. Lava Hound. Lava Hound is very similar to the dragon, the baby dragon. However, much bigger and spawns children. I fucking hate kids. So I'm breaking the lease. Dude, if you just imagine, okay, you rent a place with a woman, okay, you get inside a month later, right? She tells you I'm pregnant. First of all, horrible, terrible, because eventually a baby will be there. Then 2 days later, she explodes and dies and spawns 7 children, 8 children that you have to deal with. There was such a good opportunity for a 6-7 there. You better be thanking me, okay, for not using it. Anyway, she spawns all those kids, and now, like, what? Are you the fucking dad? You gotta take care of them? That shit is weird. I want no part of that, okay? No part of that. The bowler. The bowler is a solid dude. He's just a little weird because he carries around a big rock all the time. But otherwise, I mean, he's fucking awesome. I'd love to hang out with him. I feel like he'd be a fine roommate. He'd have to be careful with where he sets the boulder, and maybe I got to get onto him a couple times and be like, hey, bro, can you just not set the boulder on the glass coffee table? You've broken the last 3. Can we just not do that? And I feel like he'd be like, okay, and we'd be fine. Log. A sentient log rolling around the house seems very likely to destroy a lot of things. I'm going to say 3 a.m. noise complaint. Lumberjack. Lumberjack steals your food and gaslights you, okay? If you've ever been around an alcoholic, there's a lot of gaslighting going on, a lot of manipulation. I feel like the lumberjack would constantly drink and drive. He'd show up and he would disappear for weeks at a time, and you'd be like, fuck, bro, where have you been? The rent is due in 2 days. And he'd be like, I got arrested for rage drinking and driving. Okay, I'm sorry, bro. I've been in the drunk tank for like a week. They wouldn't let me out. They told me I had to meet bail, but I didn't have any money because I spent it all on booze. And it's like, bro, you gotta get out. I'm sorry. I feel like I've had a lot of tough conversations like that. Ice Golem. Ice Golem is a chill dude who keeps the house cold. Can't really talk, I don't think, but I think generally speaking, he just kind of mosey around and do his thing and pay the bills and keep the house cold. So hell yeah. Mega Minion. Mega Minion pays bills and you never see him. 100%. Now, he is my servant, apparently. He's the servant of humanity and he lives with me. So we would be chilling, I think, but he's a dad. So he's got a little more of like a responsibility aspect about him that I would appreciate. He's a little more buttoned up, so to speak. So I think he's better than the regular minions. Plus, there's only one of them. That's a big bonus. Inferno Drag. The Inferno Dragon is an interesting case, right? They have a disintegration laser. They are a dragon. I think they would make the house really hot, and I wouldn't love that. But overall, I'm just going to say it leaves their dishes in the sink. I feel like the Inferno Drag is like a pretty chill guy. However, he probably is not the most on top of chores. That's just the vibe I get. Okay, Graveyard. Now listen, a graveyard's not gonna spook me out, okay? I'm not gonna be afraid of the graveyard, okay? I'm not gonna be afraid of it, but I do think spawning like 30 skeletons every once in a while is gonna be kind of weird. And if it doesn't stop spawning them, then things are very bad. But let's assume it spawns one round of skeletons and then they all go back in their coffins or whatever and then come out later at night. Is this like in the backyard? Is it in the living room? Do they have their own graveyard bedroom? It's kind of weird, right? And for that, I think I'm going to put it in the solid but weird. Actually, I'm going to put it in the leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days category. And I'm also going to move Skarmy there. The reason for this is I just think there's so many of them. There's bound to be like dirty laundry or dishes or whatever in places you don't really want it to be, just because there's so many of them. I think that's fair. Elite Barbs, 3 a.m. noise complaint for sure. I don't think they gaslight me. They're elite barbarians, okay? I think they're probably pretty stand-up dudes, but they're so fucking loud and obnoxious. People who play them are obnoxious. It's just, you play Clash, you understand, okay? I don't have to explain that one to you. Tornado fucking destroys homes and ruins lives. No thank you. Breaking the lease immediately. Clone. If I'm just living with one clone of myself, I feel like this is the same as pays bills and you never see him. It would be a little weird, though. It would be a little weird because there's a little bit of anxiety that comes with the clone that doesn't come with the mirror, right? And that's the fact that if I accidentally like trip and like land on them, they die. And how tragic would it be to like kill another version of yourself in your own home that you've been renting with them for years? It sounds like the plot of a movie. I'm out on that one. It doesn't deserve top tier. Electro Wiz. Ewiz is a pretty cool guy, I think. A little weird. Definitely a little weird though. I think he's probably a stand-up individual. He could do some cool stuff around the house. He probably could do all sorts of things, but he's also probably doing weird experiments in the basement and stuff. If we have one, we don't have basements in Texas, but in his room, right? I'm going to go in his room and it's going to be like a weird stuff's going to be going on in there. So I think I'm good on that. Okay. Goblin gang. Now, if living with a couple goblins was messy, living with a gang of them is probably going to be a 3 a.m. noise complaint. I mean, look at this guy. In the picture alone, he looks like he's ready to have a fucking crazy time, okay? And I'm not down for crazy times. I'm a chilled, laid back guy. I'm not looking for a roommate who's gonna be all over the place, bouncing on the walls with his 4 buddies or 5 buddies, however many. I think it's 5. There's 6 of them. 6 goblins. That's too many. It's just too many. Okay, it's too many goblins. Dark Gob. Dark Gob is silent as far as I know. Oh well, he goes hookah hookah, right? I feel like that Dark Gob pays bills and you never see him. His whole, if you think about a guy who shoots a blow dart gun, he's always hiding in the bushes, right? He doesn't want to be seen. I feel like that would be the Dark Gob. Now, well, as long as he doesn't shoot me, we're chill. And I feel like he'd pay his bills on times. He just feels like a more elite goblin in a way. I feel like he'd be a little more of a solid dude to hang out with. So I'm gonna put him there. Battle Ram. Battle Ram is steals your food and gaslights you. Why? Okay, the normal barbarians are absolutely a menace to any household, okay? But you give them a battle ram and a battering ram to just run around and slam into shit. Again, they're gonna break the TV and then they're gonna be like, well, we didn't do that. What are you talking about? I'm be like, bro, you're holding a battle ram. What are you talking about? And they're gonna be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they're gonna run out the door and be gone. And I don't know. Too much. Executioner. I've heard the Exy is a wonderful, upstanding man, and he's a great chef. So I mean, he goes near the top of the list, okay? He would absolutely pay his bills. He'd be a great guy. He would cook for you sometimes. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? Exy is goated. Bats. Nobody wants bats in their home, okay? Nobody wants bats in their home. So I feel like this is just like a pet infestation, okay? It's not even like you have a roommate. How are bats going to make money and pay bills? They're not going to. They're going to do weird stuff, and they're going to poop on the floor, and they're going to hang from the ceiling, and I'm going to constantly be terrified that I'm going to get rabies, okay? Not good. Bandit, on the other hand, is steals your food and gaslights you 100%. She's literally a thief. She would dash to the kitchen, take your Subway sandwich that, even though it has your name written on it, she'd take it, eat it, and be like, what are you talking about? Okay, Night Witch. Now, someone with pet bats is probably solid but weird. I feel like the Night Witch is probably pretty to herself. I just get that vibe that she's more of an introvert, kind of to herself kind of lady. Plus, she bad as hell. I mean, and she got little pet bats. That's pretty cute. We can put her there. Skelly Barrel. I hate the Skelly Barrel, and for the balancing alone, I want to put it in I'm breaking the lease, but we won't. Now, the Skelly Barrel will explode and do damage to the house, and then you got a bunch of little guys who are living there. So depending on when I feel like this is probably leaves dishes in the sink, because I don't know if they're even going to repair the damage they do to the house, but in general, I think living with skeletons is probably fine. Okay, next up, the flying machine. I almost couldn't think of what this stupid thing is called. Okay, the flying machine. Flying machine. Having a helicopter, a little helicopter that you can ride around it is probably pretty cool, but it absolutely will get the cops called, if not the FBI, okay? They're going to show up to your house and be like, how did you make this? Why do you have it? You can't have that. We're taking you to jail. I mean, it's just going to be a whole host of problems associated with the flying machine, right? So I think we have to avoid that one, chat. I think that goes here. The cannon cart. Assuming the cannon cart is sentient, I feel like it would probably just leave a lot of mess around because it doesn't have hands to wash dishes, right? It's just going to be rolling around squeaking. Probably the wheels are probably squeaky, which is annoying. And then occasionally it might blow something up. I don't know. I don't think it'd be that bad to live with as long as it doesn't shoot too often. But overall, it probably can't take care of itself very well. Mega Knight. I do not fuck with Mega Knight. Nobody fucks with Mega Knight unless you're a MIG. So let's be real. Nobody likes Mega Knight. But is he a bad roommate? I think he's pretty insecure about his hands. That's the thing, right? So he'd probably be solid but weird. It'd be annoying to hear him clanking. Well, he can't use his hands. He'd definitely leave dishes in the sink, and he jumps around a lot. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't fuck with Mega Knight living with me, okay? Maybe that's a crazy thing to say, but I feel like he'd be jumping around going, Mega Knight! And then I'd be like, bro, it's 3 a.m. I have to get up tomorrow. Please stop yelling. Please stop jumping around. The downstairs neighbors can hear you. They've complained every day the last week that you won't stop jumping. Please. So that's going to be a no from me. Zappies. Zappies are just some chill little guys that like to zap stuff. So I don't know. Solid but weird. I feel like they could probably do some cool stuff around the house, and when the power goes out or something, they can supply electricity. I don't know. Probably not that bad. Bar barrel. I can't have a barbarian rolling through the house 24/7. That's definitely going to be a noise complaint. I mean, if you just think about it, you tell kids not to roll around on the floor, and this is a grown-ass man rolling around on the floor yelling at the same time. I mean, you can see the spit flying out of his mouth. That's disgusting. No, thank you. Hunter. Hunter is probably a chill but weird guy to hang out with. I don't think you'd ever see him, but the stoic, silent personality he has is a little unsettling in a way that the other ones aren't, right? I think for the most part, I would feel kind of weird at all times. It'd feel a little bit like I'm walking on eggshells when he's around. I think I just get that vibe that it'd be kind of weird. Royal Ghost, goated S. Where did it go? Goated S tier roommate. You literally never even see him. Literally never see him unless he interacts with something or pays the bills. It might be weird at first because he'll jump scare you every once in a while, but overall, I mean, bro, it's like you're not even living with anybody. Magic Archer. I like the Magic Archer. I think he's a pays bills and you never see him type of guy. He's very chill. I think he'd be in the backyard practicing his archery every once in a while, but that's cool. You know, it's not bad to have hobbies and skills that you care about. I think that's awesome. And I think he's a chill guy. He's older too, so he's more experienced. He's probably fine. Okay. Rascals. Rascals are absolutely going to steal your food and gaslight you about it. They're literally outlaws. They're criminals. Again, kids fucking hate kids. So living with two of them would be a nightmare. And then you got some big dude who's, I don't know. No, thank you. Snowball. Fine. I love the snow, bro. We haven't had snow in Texas and it feels like forever. It keeps alternating between like 40 degrees and it was 72 today and it was miserable and I had to go. It's 76 right now, bro. It's January. It's January. Please let it be cold for a little bit even. So I'd pay money to have the snowball live with me. Royal Recruits. Royal Recruits just leaves dishes in the sink for 3 days. There's just too fucking many of them, okay? It's just too many guys to have to worry about. There's no shot they're all going to be able to. I do feel like they would try, right? I feel like they're respectful and they're like military men, so they're probably pretty on top of their stuff. So I think we can move them like to the top of this tier, even though, again, these aren't really in order. But I feel like overall they would do their best to not be imposing on me, but I feel like they would no matter what. There's just too many of them. It's six guys, 6 or 7 guys. Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. Okay, royal hogs. I mean, you're living with fucking pigs. Even if they're royal, they can't be that mannerly, all right? Definitely, I'm breaking the lease immediately. I could not live with 4 pigs. It would just be disastrous. Goblin Giant. Goblin Giant would be steals your food and gaslights you about it. Let me explain why. Oh my god, this one has gone on a long time. We need to get a little snappier with these, okay? I feel like there's too many goblins. One of them is really big, which would take up a lot of space. In general, they'd just be kind of a nuisance. And then on top of that, I feel like I'd get lied to about a lot of stuff. The Goblin Giant strikes me as a guy who would eat your food, and then you'd be like, why'd you eat my food? And he'd be like, I'm sorry. And then you'd ask him the next day when your food's missing again, and he would still be like, oh, I'm sorry. And you go through that loop continuously until you kick him out. E-Drag, high potential to keep the power on when it goes out, but also high potential to just zap the shit out of everything I own. So 3 a.m. noise complaint. Whenever he like sneezes and he zaps everything and there's a blackout and people are going to blame us. Rough. Ram Rider. Having a ram in the house is unacceptable. Okay. Way too rambunctious, way too much stuff going on. And other than that, probably the Ram Rider herself, I feel like is probably a fine individual, but I don't want to live with a ram. Next up, we have wall breakers. These are literally suicide bombers. In what world would you ever want to live with a suicide bomber? You will open the door and be like, welcome in, guys. And they'll go, and then run into a wall and blow up your TV and shit. Fuck that. I'm out. Earthquakes destroy buildings all the time. Terrible. Diddy cage. I don't want to get diddled. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, okay? But I have no interest in being diddled. So I don't want any part of the Diddy cage. The cops would get called on this guy immediately. All right. He would show up and I'd be like, bro, there is a diddler outside my house. Somebody needs to come get this man. Next up, fisherman. I don't like the smell of fish. Again, maybe a crazy take. However, he does pay his bills. We know he has a job. I think it would be fine to put him in the top category. My reasoning for that is he's probably gone a lot on fishing trips to do his job. So probably don't even see him that much. And when he is home, he's probably just happy to be home. And I can give him a couple weeks to a month to just chill about and be kind of lazy. as long as he keeps paying the rent and I don't see him that much. It sounds like a pretty good arrangement to me. Next up, E-Golem, another diddler. But this one's a secret diddler, right? Like everybody knows the Diddy cage is the Diddy cage, but the E-Golem is much more insidious with his molesting. So I think this is definitely steals your food and gaslights you about it. He just has an evil vibe about him. Next up, Battle Healer. And no, I will not explain more. Battle Healer. Battle Healer seems like a good, solid person, okay? I feel like she would be nice. She would heal stuff occasionally. If I get a boo-boo, she can heal it. And overall, she just seems like a regular old person. So I'm happy to have her there. She is also bad, so that's another plus. Next up, we have Firecracker. I'm assuming the Firecracker is not a child, even though she kind of looks like it. She's, again, we cannot be having pyrotechnics or bombs or explosives in the house. It's just a no-go, okay? We are going to get the cops called on us because you're going to set a firework off at 4 in the morning. Everybody's going to be like, what the hell is that? It's going to be a nightmare, okay? I want no part of it. I want no part of it. Royal delivery. Assuming this does not crash into the house or my car, fine, perfectly fine. Assuming that does happen, though, we have a real fucking problem, okay? So let's assume it doesn't happen. A single royal recruit is probably fine to live with. I feel like it's very much like the knight situation, okay? And I'm willing to take the small chance that they don't, destroy anything on the way in. If they do, I'm killing them. Next up, we have the skeletal dragons, the skelly drags. Skelly drags are probably leaves dishes in the sink. They just don't strike me as necessarily upstanding individuals. There's 2 of them. You have to deal with that. However, they don't... Well, actually, you know what? They're probably solid but weird. They probably don't make a mess because they don't need to eat or poop or pee or anything. They're already dead. They'd just be hanging out in the living room, which would be weird for sure. But, I mean, they're probably welcome guests, if I'm being honest. Electro Giant. Electro Giant is a annoying card to face, okay? He has an electricity field around him constantly, which would absolutely be a problem. So I feel like this has to be on breaking the lease. First, he's already giant, okay? He's a giant. That's 1 strike. And then strike number 2, constantly electrocuting everything around him. And strike number 3, he's ginger. So, I mean, that is what it is. Mother Witch, this would be like living with an evil grandma. Now, she might turn me into a pig. I really don't want to be a pig. And if she turned anything else into a pig, we'd have a pig in the house, which is just a nightmare. So she's also like evil, right? She's definitely evil. So I feel like she might like try and convince me to become a pig or something. I feel like she's got to go the steals your food and gaslights you, because she would turn people into pigs and stuff. It would just be awful. It'd be awful. Goblin drill. We can't have a hole in the kitchen floor. We can't have a hole in the kitchen floor. They're gonna drill under the house and show up, and then there's gonna be 3 little fuckers wrecking the house. Can't do it. Can't do it. Absolutely, I'm breaking the lease the moment that I learn that they have a drill. I'm breaking the lease. Okay. Golden Knight. Golden Knight is a weird dude. Okay. He's also a little arrogant. I get the vibe that very similar to the Prince, he would show up and be like, Golden Knight. And then I'd be like, hey, bro, how you doing? And he'd be like, Golden Knight. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Please don't eat my food. Take care. Sweep the floor every once in a while and we'll be chill. And he'd be like, all right, Golden Knight. And then 2 weeks later, I'd show up out of my room because I finally left it. And there would be dishes piled everywhere. He won't have swept anything. It'll be disgusting. And it'll just be a nightmare. Okay, Archer Queen. Archer Queen, bad as hell. Never has shoes on. Big plus if you really think about it. But also a little weird. Why does she never have shoes on? She can also hide anywhere invisibly and sneak up on me and do weird stuff. She could be watching me at any moment. I would never feel comfortable in my own home. So definitely solid, but weird. Skelly King. Skelly King. Skelly King is probably pays your bills and never see him. I feel like he's just a chill dude. Well, I feel like he's a chill dude. You wouldn't see him like 99% of the time. He'd pay his bills. He'd be quiet. And then every once in a while, like maybe once or twice a month, 15 other skeletons would come over and they'd all hang out, which is fine as long as I have advance notice. I can leave the house for a day or a night or something so he can have his little skeletal party. It's fine. Mighty Miner. Can't be digging in the floor and blowing up the house, okay? 3 a.m. noise complaint. Again, just like the miner, I do not trust him to not be up to some shenanigans way late into the morning. I don't want holes in my floor. I don't want holes in the backyard. I don't want bombs in the house. I think overall that's a pretty fair thing to say. In fact, he's so much worse than the miner because he has the bomb. I think he has to go and break break the lease immediately. However, he does seem like he has more of a job. There's like with this little hat that he has, it's almost like he's a firefighter in a way. So maybe that's a little better. I don't know. I'm gonna leave him there for now. Phoenix. Phoenix is disgusting. Okay, now let me explain why, because that seems really harsh, right? The Phoenix is a cute little guy. It's not disgusting. The problem with the Phoenix is I feel like they would become a squatter no matter what. Like, you get rid of them, right? But then they leave their egg there, and you're like, what is this egg? I'm just gonna throw it away. And then 2 days later, it's the fucking Phoenix, and they're back, and you're like, I thought I evicted you, and they're like, well, squatter rights. And then you're trapped with them for an eternity. So I'm good on that one. The Monk. The Monk is a chill ass dude. Pays bills and you never see him. Definitely 100%. The most you see this guy is when he practices his Tai Chi in the backyard or something. Chill guy. Little Prince. Hate kids. Absolutely hate him. Two people living with him. Basically this is basically a single mom and a prince is what you're dealing with. He'd be a little snooty prick, I feel like. And on top of that, it's 2 people. Steals your food and gaslights you. I feel like I would constantly be like, why are you doing this? Can we not do this? And they'd be like, it's for the good of the prince. And I'd be like, oh my God, please. I understand that, but maybe taking out the trash could also be for the good of the prince, you know, but whatever. Void, this is basically a worse Zap, so breaking the lease immediately. Goblin Demolisher, breaking the lease immediately. I mean, we don't have to think about that one very hard. It's a goblin strapped with bombs. He throws bombs. Once you get him to half health, he'll get to whatever half health is for the age of a goblin, like 50, say, and then start blowing himself up. Can't do it. Can't do it. Next up, we have Goblin Curse. I don't want to become a goblin, so I'm breaking the lease immediately. Pretty safe to say. Now, I understand that the baby goblins are the smartest of all goblins, okay? I do think the baby goblin, it would be weird living with just a baby, right? Can you imagine living with a hyper-intelligent baby? Very strange. He does have a mech, which is cool, right? That is pretty cool. He could probably teach me a thing or two. But, I mean, he's a baby. What could he really know about the world? I feel like he would constantly be screaming and crying about stuff. He'd blow stuff up occasionally because he's doing his weird baby experiments. 3 a.m. noise complaint. Next up, we have Suspicious Bush, okay? This one is weird, right? Because half the time, there's just a suspicious bush in the corner. Then the other half of the time, there's weird tribal goblins who bust out with sticks and attack you. I can't be being attacked in my own home. So the cops are definitely getting called. Next up, we have Goblinstein. This is definitely steals your food and gaslights you. Let me explain why. So Goblinstein, right, is constantly going to be telling me, oh, don't worry about the corpse in the fridge. It's just for my experiments. I definitely got it legally. Oh, don't worry about the half-rotting carcass in my room. I'm just doing experiments on it. It'd be so fucking weird. I couldn't stand it. He'd be constantly gaslighting me and telling me, oh, no, you're the one who left the electro zapper on. I didn't do that. Like, what is an electro zapper? I didn't touch that shit. Why are you trying to convince me otherwise, you little freak? And then 2 weeks later, you got a fucking 400-pound goblin in your house who's been pieced together from like different animal parts and shit, and he's disgusting and he smells bad and he's loud and he's a little slow, and it's just it's way more than I signed up for. Okay, Rune Giant seems like a decent mom, top tier. Okay, I think the Berserker is supposed to be her kid. The Berserker is absolutely 3 a.m. noise complaints though. Frankly, if I had to live with the Berserker alone, I would. I can go ahead and put them together since I think they're like mother-daughter. And I'm going to assume they're like one package, okay? If I had to live with the Berserker alone, I would not do it. I hate kids, and especially rotten little nasty ones that yell all the time. Then we have the Rune Giant, who's her mom, who seems like a lovely woman, but obviously she's not that good at parenting because just look how her fucking kid turned out. So anyway, next up, Boss Bandit absolutely steals your food and gaslights you. I mean, she's a fucking criminal. Unlike the Bandit, I don't think I could take her in a fight probably. I think she might kick my ass. I don't remember what I said in the tier list, but I think she's way more dangerous than the Bandit, so I don't even feel like I could do anything about it. However, she is bad as hell. So we're going to move her up to 3 a.m. noise complaint. Spirit Empress. Spirit Empress is fine. She has a little dragon. It's kind of weird. 3 a.m. noise complaint for sure. She's definitely going to be up to no good occasionally, I feel like, and she's got a dragon, so that's kind of weird. Frankly, you don't see a lot of her, so I'm having a hard time judging her. I think this is a fine tier for her, though. Then we have Vines. I don't need Vines in the home. Okay, let's be real. I don't need vines in the home. I don't need vines overtaking things. However, if they were controllable, I think this is 3 AM noise. No, I can't live with vines. Okay, how are vines gonna pay the bills? How are vines gonna pay the bills? They're useless. It's gonna be dead weight. I have to take care of them instead of them like taking care of their own shit. I have to prune them and things like that and water them, and I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. Okay, no thank you. We're good on that. And there you go. Here we go. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you can see the full tier list. Here is the complete tier list of who I would room with in Clash Royale. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to leave more suggestions for tier lists below. Again, they do not have to be Clash Royale. They can be about anything. I'm willing to do anything. I just like having fun and hanging out with you guys and talking. So just let me know down below in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. See ya in the next one.